Benton. Tonight's bouts are under the auspices of the Mississippi State Athletic Commission. The chairman is the Honorable Billy Lyons. The Chief Deputy Commissioner is Sal Taranto. All bouts are scored under a 10-point must system. The standing 8 count and 3 knockdown rules are in effect. Your ring officials assigned by the Mississippi State Athletic Commission. Your ringside physicians are Dr. T.K. Ellis and Dr. Lance Barnes. Your judges at ringside working on a rotation basis, Chester Como, Elmo Adolph, C.D. Jenkins, and Robert Williams. Your timekeeper this evening is the talented David Taranto. And counting for the knockdowns at the bell is gentleman George Creel Jr. This bout is scheduled for 8 rounds heavyweights. Your referee for this event from Folsom, Louisiana, Paul Ceda. Introducing the principals first in the red corner to my right, wearing the black trunks with white lettering. He weighs in at 236 1/2 pounds. His professional record, 12 victories, 5 defeats. He has 7 knockouts. He hails from Bristol, Tennessee. Here is Kenny Smith. His opponent, wearing the gold trunks with red lettering, he weighs in at 234 pounds. His professional record, 12 victories, 1 defeat, 1 draw with 8 knockouts. He makes his home in Phoenix, Arizona, but he hails from Gulfport, Mississippi. Here is Obed Sullivan. 8 rounds, heavyweights.
All right, gentlemen, y'all were giving you instructions this afternoon. You have any questions?
One question. His trunks are real high. What will you call him? Right there. Okay, thank you.
Shake hands now and come out boxing.
Good luck.
Obed Sullivan, who is now ranked the number 12 heavyweight in the world, according to the IBF, with a record of 12-1-1, bursting on the scene with a couple of upsets. One back in June against then 12-1 Curtis Shepard, the IBF Intercontinental title, and Obed was scheduled in as the opponent for that fight, and one big left hook knocked out Shepard in the first round, and then he followed up with another victory in his defense of that Intercontinental title over 13-1 Thomas Williams, taking Williams out in the 4th round. So Obed Sullivan right now pushing the top 10 in the IBF, and he goes up against Kenny Smith in the black trunks, who is 12-5 with 7 knockouts. He's keeping his distance from that right hand of Sullivan. Smith, who is not known to take a solid punch. He's been down only 7 times in his career, including twice by the light-hitting Buster Mathis in what turned out to be a 10-round decision for Mathis. So Kenny Smith looking for his shots against Obed Sullivan, who's in very much the underdog in this fight.
Watching the outside. His right hand. In that fight with Buster Mathis, as you mentioned earlier, Al, he said that was his first 10-rounder. He says the fight was very close. However, the judges did not say that.
Obed Sullivan, who's fighting out of Phoenix, is originally from these parts. Native of Gulfport, Mississippi. He had only 18 amateur fights, served in the Marines for 8 years. A very physically strong young man, but still learning the art of boxing, still polishing his skills. And a very slow start here in round number 1.
Yeah, a slow start that would probably favor Obed Sullivan. Kenny Smith said tonight he was going to get in the face of Sullivan. Said get in there and get it on. He said I'm going to jump right on him and going to try to finish every round strong. He's giving too much room to Sullivan. Sullivan has quite a powerful left hook.
Get the jab, boys. Right back with the jab.
Dangerous one-punch knockout power by Sullivan. has yet to load up in this first round.
Fighting 9 pounds heavier than his last fight at 234 pounds. Is Sullivan. Maybe a little bit slow because of that.
And Kenny Smith, a couple of pounds even heavier than that. But he's 5 pounds lighter than his last fight. All right, final 10 seconds of round number 1. Scheduled for 8.
The end of round 1.
A round, ladies and gentlemen, that will never, ever see the light of the electronic day.
Fight with the jab. Okay. Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. Come on.
Man, I gotta remember this time out here.
Use the jab. You don't want to come in there. You one time with the right hand.
Is this what made you think of that?
Yes. And try to hit him in that belly when he gets too close. When he gets try to hit him in the body. Okay. Okay. Keep that jab. Keep his eyes on it. Don't let him tip up on you. Okay. Right.
During the Ricky Jackson fight, we got to keep our eye on.
Don't let him get up on top of you. Okay.
Oh yeah. Yeah, right.
Seconds out. We approach the second round. Round 2.
Round number 2, heavyweights. Obed Sullivan in the gold trunks, 12-1-1 with 8 knockouts, and Kenny Smith in the black trunks comes in at 12-5 with 7 KOs. Smith from Bristol, Virginia. And Obed Sullivan, who grew up in these parts, Gulfport, Mississippi, now living in Phoenix. And with him, brings into the ring the 12th ranking in the world, according to the IBF.
That right hand up, lock that jab.
First 3 minutes of this fight, a couple of fighters pretty much sleepwalking
Keep walking up on
through
it.
things.
Keep walking up
Now
on
it's
it.
Obed with some crisp jabs looking to open it up. And
Walking
Kenny
up on it.
Smith
That's
with
right.
a big right hand
Towards him.
deflected easily.
back it up.
Smith looks to have very little power in that shot.
Get that right hand up.
There is the jab again by Sullivan, trying to move a little more into range.
Yeah, and see the effects of it on Kenny Smith. Now, giving more room. Smith said, I'm going to get in there and get it on. He didn't do that in the first round, and he's not going to do it here in the second round. And I'll tell you why he's not going to do it.
Why is that?
He's not going to do it because he's tasting power. There's a good shot. Snap the head back of Sullivan.
Back,
Smith
right
again.
back. Right back. Walk
Not
him
a lot
down.
of power in his shots. Not getting down with his punches.
Is Sullivan just studying? He's looking for that perfect angle to Kenny Smith.
Now put that body inside.
And Sullivan has not thrown many right hands.
No, did he hurt the right hand?
Scheduled 8-rounder. Obed Sullivan is ranked number 12 in the world. And he's still fighting 8-round fights.
That's a surprise.
Keep out, son.
But I'm sure he says he would be ready for 12 rounds.
That jab out there, son. There you go.
There's that right hand again. Now, Smith's right hand, champ, is connecting, but has no effect whatsoever.
Right hand when it's open, not closing the fist.
Watch that belly inside. Down him shot to the body.
Slap punch from him and scoring now. But look how Obed Sullivan is getting down behind his punches. Really getting down. Never let your opponent get under you.
Keep working, Smith.
And he
His
is
hand low.
bending over, digging the body. Look at that. But I think you're right. He has more power on that left hand now because right hand may be hurt.
Double it up to the body. Double it up.
Punching blow downstairs.
Hey,
Blow, Paul Cita, the referee. But now it's Obed Sullivan jabbing to the left, fouling with some power on the left hand. Closing seconds of number 2.
The bell, the end of round 2.
Grand Casino. You got it.
It's not a 10-round fight. We're not going 10. We're going 8.
What is Robbie? What does the scenic look like coming off the top of the
Take a deep breath. Come on, you gotta keep that jab on. If you get in long range, he ain't no trouble. Okay? Keep in long range, he ain't no trouble. You got me? Yeah. Keep that jab out there. Ain't no trouble. Keep the jab out of it. Keep him out on the range. That shit. You try to get yourself smothered. Try to infight. You don't want to stay away from that bop, bop, bop. Put that jab out. Keep the jab on him. Yeah, he is not trying. Okay? Okay. You all right?
Seconds out. Seconds out. We approach the third round. Round 3.
Round number 3, heavyweights. Obed Sullivan, the 12th ranked heavyweight in the world according to the IBF. Comes in with a record of 12-1-1 with 8 knockouts in the gold trunks. Goes up against Kenny Smith, who is 12-5 with 7 knockouts. Smith, 25-year-old out of Bristol, Virginia. Obed at the age of 27. Now living in Phoenix, originally from right here in Gulfport, Mississippi.
For the slow first round for these two heavyweights. In the second round, Sullivan picked it up a bit. They pick it up here in the third round with again, Kenny Smith back to the road. Obed Sullivan just putting the pressure on here. Between rounds, they were telling Kenny Smith, outbolting his man, saying, keep your distance, give ground, let him run into something. Kenny Smith out of Bristol, Tennessee.
It's the Twin Cities. Bristol, Virginia, Tennessee, Long Bridge.
Bristol and Bristol. Long bridge. That would be a long bridge.
Well, these two fighters kind of making a bridge between the early rounds to getting in the late. And Obed Sullivan trying to work inside.
Working inside and also taking power off that right hand. See the power he has in that left hook now? Well, there's power from the right. Smith is hurt.
And closing in, Obed Sullivan. Oh, there's one of the rare right hands and does some damage. And now it's Kenny Smith on his toes to get away. And can't. And Kenny Smith will not rise tonight in time. And that is it. So Obed Sullivan turns on a little steam here in the third, puts out Kenny Smith for his 13th victory against 1 defeat. And Smith has to be helped, taken care of in that corner. Right now doesn't know whether he is in Bristol, Tennessee, or Bristol, Virginia.
Oh, Bristol, Connecticut. Bristol, England. Bristol, England. Well, Kenny Smith just didn't have enough power to keep Obed Sullivan off of him. Obed Sullivan set the tempo and the pace. He started off slow and built to that third round to really kick it out.
Yeah, nice.
Really go in that third round looking for the KO. And here's what he did. See the pressure, closing the gap, throwing the left hook to the body, doing a lot of damage downstairs. But that is the punch that did much of the damage, the left uppercut. You know, it's important for a fighter to have the versatility of being able to punch hard with the right hand and the left hand. There's why right hand hurt in the first round. That right hand landed. Pouring it on Obed Sullivan, and this knockdown came from the left uppercut. Obed Sullivan looks poised, much more than a fighter with only 14 fights. He only had 18 amateur fights. He's schooling.
On his way, already ranked number 12 by the IBF, even though he's still fighting scheduled 8-rounders, but at 234 pounds, comes in 9 pounds heavier than his last fight and really has to find his range in weight. But he punches out Kenny Smith in 3. That's the IBF Intercontinental belt, which he won back in June, and really had him explode onto the scene. Let's get the official time now. And here is Mark Buto.
Ladies and gentlemen, the time 2 minutes, 16 seconds of the third round. The winner by knockout, Obed Sullivan.
Ninth knockout in 13 victories. Obed Sullivan trying to make his move into the heavyweight top 10.
Now you can go home and go to Obed.
Yeah. All righty. There's a thriller. Yeah. Well, if you're, yeah. You know what though?
Third round.
I'd like to do that round over.
Recall. Oh, what?
Yeah. Yeah, it's fucked up. Yeah.
Ah,
The yeah, I got slopped with the Bristol thing that time.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Right on my sheet, Bristol, Virginia.
we still have
why Bristol, Virginia?
I don't know. It was on the original sheet.
However, we can
And I figured that, as you said, there's probably a Bristol. I didn't even think twice of it. I figured Bristol's very common.
intermission.
Oh, man.
Back, we'll have our co-feature and, of course, the championship fight that all of you have been waiting for, featuring Bobby Chaz and Ricky Jackson.
I've been waiting for that one.
And we have 2 other bouts in store. So what we will have is a
This is going to be a long night, huh? With all these bouts afterwards. Yes, sir.
on the USA Network with the Tuesday night fights.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to do. Did you want to do something now?
Okay.